Welcome to the module 8, friends, and we're going to talk about the fear of abundance, the fear of richness. And it's so important, and it's like it's so huge basically, that I've decided to give this a section of its own. Namely, is the fear of abundance and the clinging to scarcity and poverty thinking. Now, you may assume that since you want to be rich, there is no way you would have to fear that richness or abundance. Why try to achieve something you're scared of, right? Yet, this fear strikes down entrepreneurs time after time. And the reason is because they can't shut off a lifetime of programming. Have you ever heard your family or your loved ones say something negative about someone else's wealth? I bet you have. We all have. We have spent a lifetime listening to comments like, "She didn't need a bigger house, she just moved into the big house to show off." He bought the car to impress the neighbors. She would have just bought a Ford, but of course, she just had to have a Lexus because she wanted to show off. Now, something like this. What about this? You might have gotten this all the time in your ears. He sure thinks a lot of himself. You can tell by the fancy clothes he wears. All that money, and yet children around and the world are starving and hungry. Doesn't seem right, does it? I wonder where he got all this money from. Or it's pretty to make that kind of money legally, so he might have done something wrong. Or guess he hasn't been in church lately to know what God thinks about rich people. In other words, we have been programmed to believe that rich people are selfish, braggarts, that they got their money illegally, and other negative characteristics. When you have had those messages hammered into your head for years, you can see where deep down you might be hesitant about becoming wealthy. So we can convince ourselves that we will be different. We say our money won't change us. We know that we will be charitable with our money rather than using it for evil. That is it. That's all we need to do. Now, but there's still something else that's holding us back. Even though we know we won't become those rich people we despise, again, that's a negative programming. But then let's be with it, because we cannot just remove something that is so hard-coded in our mind. But then there's another very real fear. Namely, we know that we will become despised by others. It's true. When we become rich, others will suddenly find plenty of fault with us. They will seek to rip us down. They will talk negatively about our money. And, they will simply roll their eyes in our direction. Some people do it because, like many of us, they have been programmed to think and speak about rich people in that way. And some of those people will be just plain jealous. They want to be rich too, and they can't seem to clear those mindset hurdles. As such, that means you need to develop a thick skin. Do what you need to do, but don't pay attention to negative comments. Do what you think is right in life, and don't let someone else's pretty words hold you back. Indeed, there's nothing wrong with wealth. You might even look at it as your duty to become wealthy. Think about it this way. Let's say there is a cause near and dear to your heart. Perhaps you have kids that you want to raise the right way. Maybe your parents are getting elderly, and you absolutely abhor the idea of them going to a nursing home, or perhaps there are charitable causes that pull on your heartstrings. There could be a lot of different good things which you can do if you're wealthy. Now, when you stay in the same place in life that you are at right now, you cannot offer any more help. You cannot do more. You cannot make someone else's life better. And if you are struggling to make ends meet, how could you just make anyone else's life better? So, what happens when you become wealthy? Now that you're doing fine, you can help others too, right? You can give your kids the opportunities you never had. You can make sure your parents are able to live with you rather than going to a nursing home, and you can help improve the lives of strangers or animals, the earth, the arts, etc. Because you can now donate to worthy causes. You can do all of that when you are not rich, of course, but it's hard. And you can do so much more when you're wealthy. So, doesn't it make sense to become wealthy? To think otherwise is almost like withholding opportunities for a better life for someone else who's just plain jealous, or someone else who has no clue of what it is to be like to help other people or to be wealthy. What we've said so far should help you to shed close the chains of poverty thinking, clinging to scarcity, and other negative thoughts about wealth that might be holding you back. Now, let's look at specific ways to start attracting abundance into your life. How to use the law of attraction to attract wealth. The law of attraction is simple. What you focus on expands. That is all about law of attraction. If you're constantly worried about bills and thinking, I don't have money to pay my bills, you'll soon find that what you're thinking about becomes a reality. Soon enough, you absolutely won't have enough money. And the more you think about it, the more dire your situation becomes. That's the law of attraction working. Except in this case, it's not working in your favor. Instead, you need to focus on what you would like to feel like. Be grateful for what you already have. Alright? Be grateful for what you have and be grateful for what's coming. Focus your intentions and desires on the emotion of how you will feel when you will get that. So instead of saying I don't have enough money, you can say I'm grateful that I have an abundance of money. And yes, you say that even when you don't have that kind of money yet, and you perceive to be in abundance, because what you focus on, what you think about, expands and becomes reality, and that's a proven scientific fact, and is actually termed as law of attraction. Now, how to use the tools to attract abundance is one of the very common questions people ask me all the time when I tell them about law of attraction. So another way to help you attract abundance is by setting your goals, setting your intentions to meet these goals, and then using these tools. Create a dream board. That's something which I do all the time. I create a dream board, and it's nothing but a large plastic board which you create, where you paste all your dreams, or you write, or you just make a collage of whatever you want in your life, like a good car, or maybe a big house, or anything of that sort. So, and put the board in some place where you're likely to see frequently, or you can create a collage of pictures like I just mentioned on your computer that reflects your desires, and set this picture as your wallpaper. For example, let's suppose you want to have a perfect house and a perfect car in mind. So find pictures of these houses and car on the internet and paste them on your dream board. If you want to give money to charity, paste a picture that reminds you of that charity. Ideally, you should choose pictures that cause an emotional reaction in you. Okay, I'm not really getting into the biological terms, but I just want to mention this to you. See, guys, people say the think from heart, but you cannot obviously think from heart, because all the thinking is done by your brain, right? But there is something called hypothalamus. Right? Hypothalamus is a gland which secretes emotion fluids, right? And 3 codes of hypothalamus is actually directly linked to your heart. So that's the reason when you get emotional, people say that you're thinking from your heart. So the thing is, you should have something in front of you which you like, right? And when you see those things in your subconscious, you start your desires to get those things just becomes stronger, and the law of attraction just makes it impossible for that thing to stay away from you. It just tries to pull that to you, and this thing really works, right? And here's the deal: the gratefulness journal helps you to do exactly that. Alright, write a gratefulness journal. Sometimes we need to stop and think about what we are grateful for today, because when we focus on good in our life, it expands and more good comes our way. So the gratefulness journal helps you do exactly that. Every day, take the time to write down 5 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big. You could be grateful that you found a close parking space at your store, or anything for that matter. The point is, there's a lot of good things in life, right? And when you're grateful for all the good, you can expect more to come your way. But if you don't realize the grateful, if you don't show gratitude, if you don't see, if you don't show thankfulness to things which you're getting, and which are, actually kind of making you happy, and instead of just trying to acknowledge that, if you're just thinking about what you don't have all the time, and you're just attracting the negativeness, the negative energy. So again, the law of attraction is working, but in a negative way. So everything we've talked about sounds pretty good, right? But you might be wondering how to stay motivated. So you will discover plenty of tips and tricks in the next section. Stay tuned.